Hey everyone, welcome to the beginning of week 3 already. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you all this coming Saturday. So we're just going to go over kind of things you're going to work on until then and be prepared to, actually, let me change this to the student view, to have ready to talk about in class. So first of all, let me apologize. I know the due dates had to be changed. Somehow I managed to put the wrong due dates in both So put the campus-based due dates in the online and on the online due dates in the campus-based shell. So I think I have fixed that, which in some ways I think might better prepare you to be ready to do the action plan and the group project presentation for this week. So a couple of projects we're working on simultaneously, which can be a little confusing. So hopefully I can give you some instructions for how to navigate this going forward into week 3. So first, you're working on your equity action plan. So your assignments leading up to that were to conduct an equity survey of your own classroom or your clinical teacher's classroom and identify some areas where equity could be improved and some strategies using the resources from the first couple weeks of how to improve equity. So in class on Saturday, you're going to within your PLC group, the three of you are going to present to each other your ideas so what you identified as the challenges, what your ideas are, and the strategies you're going to employ to try to improve equity on a small scale over the next several weeks. So again, this is not a formal presentation. You do not need to create any kind of slide presentation or visuals. It's pretty informal. You're going to talk within your PLC groups about your action plan, why you chose the areas you did, and what you plan to do to address them. Any questions about that, please let me know. And then the second part due this week is actually going to be in-class activities. We're going to be doing some model STEM activities. We're going to look at what makes STEM STEM? How do we define it? How are we defining it in terms of your unit that you're creating this term in my class? And we're going to start working on and planning for the STEM unit using the backwards design template. So in addition to that, for week 3, you have some readings. You'll see I'm going to start introducing some technology readings. The focus of term 2 is STEM for one, but also really looking at the use of technology in science classrooms. And so for the next few weeks, you're going to be identifying some technology to use and to incorporate in your STEM unit and in your classroom, and also just talking and researching about what are the best practices around implementing technology. And so you have two kind of simultaneous projects that you'll do with that. So you'll be responding to some technology forum discussions, just kind of indicating your progress towards, first you're going to write a paper about the use of technology, a short paper, a couple pages, and then you're going to actually choose a technology to highlight, and you're going to create a presentation. This one will be a little more formal, where you're actually presenting this to your classmates in week 8 when we're back in person, and you're going to be the expert now on the technology. So how to use it, why you chose it, what are the challenges and benefits of using it in a classroom, and how did you incorporate it within your STEM unit. So that's where we're going with the technology, but for this week, you just have to look at these ideas for technology. So I actually have selected some that I want you to choose from. So you can do simulations, applets and animations, citizen science, virtual field trips, using real-time data from agencies such as USGS, NASA, NOAA, local data. You can actually use student data, but I want you to tie it into data that is collected on a larger scale. You can do an online scientist visit. You can have them create some kind of field guide, identification key, something like that. Lastly, you can include an app that you are incorporating, but if you really want to showcase an app, that would be in addition to one of the other ones. So what I do see is generally students tend to pick simulations for this because it's the easiest one to maybe, and you're already familiar with it. So I'm going to challenge you. In fact, I'm thinking about just actually taking that one off because so many people end up using it. So I'm going to challenge you to choose something else and something that you're not as familiar with using and explore that. And the reason for that is simulations are great, but they're difficult actually to implement in a classroom. So when all of your students are trying to work simultaneously on a simulation, they're usually very bandwidth heavy, and so they don't work real well with students doing them all at the same time in a classroom. So students tend to run into a lot of problems with that. So stay away from simulations unless you have a really great one that makes perfect sense, and explore some of these other ideas. So you can see there's some links here, there's some information. We'll talk more about this in class on Saturday, and but start thinking about and by next week you have to choose which of these technologies you're going to focus on for your technology choice. So going to back to our week 3, you'll see the to-do list is linked here. I'm going to pull it up so we can check on what it is I'm asking you to do. So for class on Saturday, have a draft of your equity action plan to share in class. You can revise and resubmit it. It's actually due by midnight the day of class on Saturday. So if you haven't yet or have changed your mind, submit your STEM unit focus selection. This will be due. You need to select make the choice and then submit it soon after class. So that should be decided this week, and you might be wanting to talk to your clinical teacher if that's applicable. We are going to have the first draft of the backwards design is going to be due next week. So thinking about, you need to really nail down your topic and be prepared to start identifying standards. Take a look at the technology resources under week 3 and choose one. You're going to document that in the Google Drive, so there's a link here. And then the paper you're going to write, I want you to this week just identify 2 sources to include in your technology paper. So there are some technology resources linked in the NSTA Learning Center. There's some on Canvas, but I want you also to explore on your own. And then you have a technology form while you're actually going to identify that information that is due in week 4. So that's it for this week. Again, I look forward to seeing you and doing some hands-on STEM lessons in class on Saturday. Have a good week.